right back into the action for another day of the week. Welcome to the Monday edition of Chasing That Paper, presented by VegasInsider.com. We are ready to rock today. We got it all covered here today. Picks for every NBA and NHL playoff game. A couple spots we like in Major League Baseball. And it is our official 2023 NFL Draft betting preview. We have 6 total bets that we like for the upcoming draft here on Thursday. So a bit of a, well, not a bit of, a really rough week for myself from a betting perspective last week. From a personal perspective, I had a decent week though, so that's good at least. So I will be looking to rebound big time here this week, and we'll be looking to get that started today. So let's quit wasting time here. Let's bring in my co-host for the day, Iain MacMillan, senior editor over at BetMGM. Iain, a very fancy shirt today. Tell us a little bit about it. Let's hear about it.
Yeah, it's a new shirt I recently bought at Old Navy of all places. I think it was $10. It's kind of like a summer shirt. Getting ready for some nice weather. It's a beautiful sunny day out here in New York. So yeah, pretty fancy stuff from Old Navy. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a pretty bougie spot to shop at.
You know what? You can go to Old Navy. Sometimes you're going to get some good finds there. Now, the clothes maybe not that high of quality. You know, you'll start to notice some fading and whatnot after a couple washes. But you get what you pay for, I guess, right? All right, that's enough beating around the bush here, goddammit, Iain. We got a lot to get into, so let's get into it. Let's get right into that action. We're going to start things off in the NBA down in Milwaukee. Down in Miami, I should say, where Milwaukee is in town. And I'm going to take those Bucks to bounce back. I like the Bucks here, -5.5 in this one. Status of Giannis still up in the air. Obviously, I'd prefer if he plays, but I'm still fine taking Milwaukee at this number if Giannis is once again out, because this is one of our favorite spots. Consistency is an issue for Miami. We fade the Heat after a win around here. One of the worst teams in the NBA in the spot. They are 13, 30, and 3 against the spread after a win this season. This pattern was on full display in games 1 and 2 in this series. They scored 130 points in game 1 and won by 13, only to get destroyed by 16 points in game 2. They were down by 33 entering the fourth quarter. And that one, a good pairing of trends here, because the Bucks are often a great bet to bounce back. The second best bet in the NBA following a loss, he's covering at 62.5%. This is a team that makes adjustments. And the elite shooting cannot continue here for the Miami Heat. A ridiculous EFG shooting percentage of 64.9%. That's more than 10% higher than the regular season number. They're facing a Bucks team that led the league in opponent EFG during the regular season at 52%. Expect those numbers to start to even out. Expect the Bucks to even up this series and cover 5.5 point spread. Okay, over to the ice. What's up next?
We're going to start with Game 4 in the Battle of the Hudson between the New Jersey Devils and the New York Rangers, and I will once again back the New Jersey Devils as underdogs in this spot at +130. Arr, 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 arr. The Devils have actually been outplaying the Rangers, which might surprise some people, at least when it's 5-on-5 in this series. They're actually first in the NHL playoffs. First out of 16 playoff teams in 5-on-5 Corsi percentage so far in the postseason at 57.3%. They're also outscoring them in expected goals during 5-on-5 play, 6.94 to 5.62. And also, I think what might end up being the big momentum shifter in the series is the goaltending change that they had the boldness to do ahead of Game 3. Akira Schmid started Game 3 for the New Jersey Devils, and he stood on his head, stopped 29 of 30 shots. And this is a guy who had a .922 save percentage in the regular season, so that might not have just been a fluke. This guy might actually be an extremely good goalie, and he might lead the Devils to a Game 4 win and maybe even a series win. Regardless, I'll take the Devils at Madison Square Garden, +130 underdogs in New York.
Let's go New Jersey. Okay, Giannis is officially in now. I got that at -5.5. If you like the Bucks, go bet it now, because that number could climb a point or two by the time the game tips off here. So things looking good here to start the week. Alrighty, okay, in the NBA next, game number 2, we go to the West Coast for this one. Lakers, Grizzlies. I'm going to take the home team, Lakers, to cover the 4.5-point spread. Check out this trend for the Grizzlies. It is absolutely ridiculous. The Grizzlies are on a 3-19-1 against the spread slide as a road underdog. That extends all the way back to last season. This is not a team that plays up to the competition. They are front runners. 0-23 straight up in this spot as a road dog in their last 23 games as a road dog. Don't forget, they finished 10 games below 500 on the road this season. They are much better on their home court. Lakers have owned the paint in the series so far. They have the offensive rebounding percentage edge and are averaging a playoff high 54.7 points in the paint through 3 games here. And here's the thing, LeBron still hasn't had his best game yet. Decent stats, sure, but his points and assists through the 3 games still sit below his regular season average. A big game is coming. Let's hope it's tonight. Give me the Lakers -4.5. All right, Ian, back over to the ice. What are we looking at now?
Next up, we got my favorite total bet of the night, and it is in the game between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Winnipeg Jets. And I'm going to go under 5.5 at even money. Full disclosure, I got this under 6 -125 last night, but it's under 5.5 now. I still like it at that number here. Neither team has created much offense so far in this series. If you look at expected goals per 60 minutes, 2.9 for the Golden Knights, 2.88 for the Winnipeg Jets. I also expect a little bit of positive regression from both goaltenders, or at the very least from Connor Hellebuck. Both of them have sub-900 save percentages in this series. Come on, Connor, you're better than that. And also, I was talking about earlier about not creating much offense. Well, these two teams, 15th and 16th in high-danger scoring chances so far in the playoffs. So second last and last. They are the only 2 teams in the playoffs that are averaging fewer than 10 high danger scoring chances per 60 minutes. So I think that's going to lead to a defensive battle tonight. I'll take a look at under 5.5 at even money.
Hellebuck! Great American goaltender. Okay, my favorite puck pick of the night down in Florida. Give me the home team, Tampa Bay Lightning, coming in at -110 versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. So you dig into the numbers there from Game 3, and Tampa dramatically outplayed Ian's Toronto Maple Leafs. In that game, they outshot them by 12. Analytics advantages across the board, and expected goals 4, high danger chances 4, Corsi 4. And they got knocked off in overtime. That happens. Consecutive home losses in the playoffs are rare for Tampa Bay. So in the first round last season, the Leafs got them in Game 3 in Tampa Bay. The Lightning bounced back big time in Game 4, won 7-3 in that one. Overall, they are 4-0 in this spot in the last 2 playoffs. And they lose at home, and the next game in the series is at home, with each of those wins coming by at least 2 goals. And we all know, Ian will tell you about this, the Maple Leafs cannot be trusted. How many times in a playoff series have they completely thrown their fans and maybe even some bettors off the scent? They build up some momentum, have people thinking, maybe this year will be different. Then they take all that momentum and flush it right down the toilet. Give me the Tampa Bay Lightning, -110.
I can assure people that will not be a collab bet tonight. I will be on the Toronto Maple Leafs.
All right.
But my final NHL pick for the night.
All right. Go ahead.
Leafs in 5.
Continue.
Leafs in 5, baby. All right, let's talk about your game.
We suck again.
Let's talk about the last NHL game on the board for tonight. Is the Colorado Avalanche against the Seattle Kraken. Now, once again, back the Avalanche -150 on the money line in Seattle. They have been dominating this series. Just take a look at expected goals per 60 minutes. The Avalanche coming in at 3.95. The Kraken coming in at 2.32. So huge advantage for the Colorado Avalanche. And in Game 3, I backed the Avalanche on the money line. And one of the reasons why was because I thought we were going to see some regression from Philip Grubauer, who absolutely stinks. And he showed his true self in that game. Allowed 5 goals on 33 shots, a save percentage of .848. In Game 4, I expect a performance from him that more closely resembles Game 3 than Games 1 and 2. And finally, I think some playoff experience is starting to show here for this Colorado Avalanche. Don't forget the Seattle Kraken. This is their first ever playoff series in their franchise history. And the Avalanche, down in both games 2 and 3, came back to win. And I think as the series progresses, that playoff experience, that championship experience, is going to continue to show. So I'll back the Avalanche -150 again in Game 4 tonight.
Avalanche. Okay, over to the diamond we go. AL East matchup. Red Sox, Orioles in Baltimore. A first 5-inning bet total set at 4. Boom! Absolutely love the over on that one. Let's get into it. Chris Sale, this guy still can't be trusted. Maybe some signs of life. Sure, he is coming off a great performance his last time out, but I got to see more to believe it. 3 previous starts, he was rocked for 15 earned runs and allowed 5 home runs. Those 3 games. This includes allowing 7 to cross the plate versus these Orioles in his season debut. Baltimore countering with Dean Kramer. Do we have any Dean Kramer fans watching the show today? Probably not, because this guy's been awful. He allowed 5 earned runs in that same game versus Boston on April 1st. For the season, he has a .616 ERA to go along with a .654 FIP. We got some offensive bright spots for each of these teams. Good numbers for the Red Sox versus right-handed pitching. Come into action, ranked 8th in OPS versus righties. Baltimore, meanwhile, versus lefties, top 10 in both OPS and WRC+, while ranking 6th in runs scored in innings 1 through 5. Give me over 4 runs in the first 5 innings between the Red Sox and the Orioles. Right, Ian, you got a pick on the diamond. What do you like?
Yeah, I got my best baseball bet for tonight, and of course it is an underdog.
Better late than never.
I'll take the Reds. I'll take the Reds plus 105 against the Texas. Okay, Tito, you don't have to overdo it. I know you're a little late. Overdoing it doesn't make up for it. Give me the Reds plus 105 against the Texas Rangers tonight. The Rangers struggle against lefties, and that is important because they're taking on a lefty in Nick Lodolo. Their OPS drops from .811 against righties this season all the way down to .667 against lefties. I think we're going to see some regression coming for this Texas team. This team, I don't know, Joe, if you've looked at the standings lately, 14-7. That's insane. Their bullpen numbers have been amongst the best in the majors. Their offense is scoring 6.62 runs per game, the second most in the Rangers. Let's be honest. Even for the 3 Rangers fans that might be watching this, because I don't know how many fans they... I've never met a Rangers fan. There's regression coming for this team. Every single year we see shitty teams get off to hot starts and then implode as the season goes on. This year's version of that team is the Texas Rangers. And also, if you look at Nick Lodolo's overall numbers, might be a little bit deceiving. His ERA, 4.98, not great. But he's had 4 starts, and 3 of them were really good starts, and then he imploded in his last start. 12 hits, 8 earned runs. But that extremely bad start is skewing his numbers a little bit to make them look worse than what they should be and what they will be as the season progresses. So I think he'll have a good start tonight against a Rangers team that can't hit lefties. Give me the Reds. Plus 105 on the money line.
Yeah, the Bruce Bochy effect for the Rangers. Off to a good start. Speaking of good starts, Pittsburgh Pirates. What the hell is going on there? Okay, my favorite pitcher prop of the night. Let's bring it home with this one. Alex Cobb over 4.5 strikeouts. That one going off at -135. Over at BetMGM. So this is a borderline insulting number. I fully expected to wake up and see a 5.5 here. Would have strongly considered the over on that number as well. This one seems mispriced, so I will look to take advantage. He has easily topped this. 3 of his 4 starts this season. He had 8 last time out in Miami. 2 other starts where he had 6 strikeouts. St. Louis, not exactly a big strikeout team by any means, but they do have the 10th highest K percentage on the road this season, which is notable because Cobb is much more effective at home. All of last season, he posted a 2.68 ERA at AT&T Park, where he averaged 5.8 Ks per game, which included an 8 strikeout performance versus these St. Louis Cardinals. Give me Alex Cobb over 4.5 strikeouts. And oh man, that is a lot of action for a Monday. If you're watching live on YouTube right now, if you're watching the replay, guys, do me a favor. You know what I'm going to ask. Hit that like button right down there. Hit that subscribe button. It's easy to do, and it lets us know that you enjoy the program. So thank you very much for that. If you're looking to get some bets in tonight, I recommend getting those bets in over at BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Let me tell you a little bit about them. If you're looking for a new sportsbook, we got a deal for you. We have an exclusive offer just for Vegas Insider users. Sign up with BetMGM and use the promo code VIBonusMatch, and you will get up to $1,100 of your deposit matched by BetMGM. That's a pretty good deal. Use that code VIBonusMatch, all one word, no spaces, for a first deposit offer of up to $1,100. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. You must be 21 years or older to wager. Offers for new customers only. BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks, baby. Yeah, baby. All right. Okay, guys, it is now time for our official 2023 NFL Draft betting preview with the picks that we like best. So as of Monday morning here, Bryce Young, minus 1,600 to be the top overall pick. So not a whole lot of intrigue there, especially from a betting perspective. Now, what you want to keep in mind here with the NFL Draft and your bets is you don't want to wait till Thursday to get your bets in for the draft, because a lot of the value will be gone. And in some cases, sportsbooks will be taking some of the offers or some of the bets off the board as new information comes to light. So Monday, this is a perfect time to get your bets in. So let's get right into it. Ian and I have our three favorite bets, and I'm going to get us started. A little plus money play here. I like CJ Stroud to be the third overall pick. You can get that at plus 270. So here's why I like this bet. It's very much worth the risk. So Texans picking second. Looks like they're going in a different direction here. You read the tea leaves here a little bit as Stroud continues to drop in the betting markets. He was the favorite to be the top pick for a few weeks, and he got leapfrogged by Young. Then we saw Will Anderson become the favorite to be the second overall pick. Now Will Levis is the favorite to go number 2 overall. Maybe the Texans soured on Stroud, or maybe they never liked him in the first place. Talent here is undeniable, and teams will be eager to trade up. Just look at his stats from the Peach Bowl this past season, the Rose Bowl the season before that. This is a big game player, and he has serious potential to be a big-time quarterback in the NFL. And the Cardinals are in a great position here to trade up. Adam Schefter report that 6 teams have already inquired about the number 3 overall pick. So many glaring needs on the Arizona roster. They're clearly in rebuild mode. An obvious trade partner right behind them in the Colts. Maybe the Falcons surprise people. Maybe the Titans look to move up from 11. They appear to be ready to start over at the position. CJ Stroud, number 3 overall, plus 270. All right, Ian, your favorite pick for the draft. What are we looking at?
My very favorite pick for the draft is over 3.5 wide receivers to be selected in the first round, coming in at minus 120. I think we're going to see a lot of wide receiver needy teams that pick late in the first round, picking 15th or later in the draft. In the first round, you have the Packers, you have the Lions, you have the Chargers, you have the Ravens, Vikings, Giants, Eagles, Chiefs, all teams who could certainly use some help at the wide receiver position. And there's no clear number 2 at the wide receiver position in the draft. JSN is a clear number 1, but then you have Jordan Addison, Quentin Johnson, Zay Flowers, all who could be the number 2 guy on a different team's boards, which I actually think will help things out. If there's no clear number 2 and some different teams have a different number 2, they're going to be willing to take him a little bit later on in the round if a couple of the other guys have already been selected. And actually, I wouldn't be surprised if we see 5 wide receivers selected in the very first round. So if you can find any alternate lines over 4.5 at big plus money, I think there might be some value there. Obviously, you have JSN, you have Addison, you got Johnston, you got Flowers, but Josh Downs out of UNC is also a potential first-round pick. So I think we're going to see a ton of wide receivers come off the board in the first round. So I like over 3.5 at minus 120.
Hey, back to me here. Bet that I absolutely love Lions. So the position of the first player that they draft, quarterback, you can get that at -130. I think that this is an absolutely beautiful bet. So the Lions defense, maybe the worst in all of the NFL last season. They were especially bad against the pass. They finished 29th in yards per pass allowed. They just offloaded Jeff Okudah to the Atlanta Falcons. So obviously there is a need at that position, and that need can be met with two strong options in Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois, Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon. Look for the Lions to take a cornerback with their first pick, first round, have a new starter to plug in. Beautiful number, -130. All right, Ian, what are you looking at next?
Next up, I'm going to look at Christian Gonzalez, the cornerback out of Oregon. I'm going to go over 8.5 for his draft position, coming in at plus money. Little plus money prop here, plus 110. From my understanding, if you take a look at the betting odds in most mock drafts out there, Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois is the clear #1 cornerback. So this means we would need two cornerbacks selected in the top 8 for this bet to lose. And I think because with the recent Will Levis news, we're going to see a flurry of quarterbacks taken in the top 7. Possibly 4, and if we get 4, I just don't think there's room for Christian Gonzalez to be picked in the top 8. And there's a reason why this number is at 8.5, and it's because the Atlanta Falcons pick at number 8. A lot of mocks had them taking a cornerback, but now that they've traded for Jeff Okudah from the Lions, I don't think the Falcons are going to go corner. I think that's basically what this bet comes down to. I think they might trade down, or I think they might take a defensive lineman. They might even take Bijan Robinson. Let's hope they don't do that. But I think that's what it comes down to. I don't think the Falcons go corner. So because of that, I think Christian Gonzalez is going to go later than the 8th overall pick. I love this prop bet. A little plus money action here, plus 110.
All right, my final pick for the 2023 NFL Draft. I think this one's mispriced. Over 4.5 quarterbacks to be selected in the first round. You get that at -115. So let's break this one down. So very easily, I think it wouldn't be unrealistic at all to see 3 go in the top 4 picks of the draft, and 4 could very easily go in the top half of the first round. Now, very high upside of Hendon Hooker. I think it's worth the risk. He's a bit of a wild card who will make or break this bet after tearing his ACL there in November. But this is a guy who could really thrive in the right system if a team's willing to be patient with him. And probably the reason why I like this bet the most, we have an incredible amount of quarterback uncertainty in the back half of the first round. Green Bay, Washington, Tampa Bay, Baltimore. If you say that these teams are set at the quarterback position for the upcoming season, what about teams that aren't set long-term at the position, like the Vikings or the Rams? Could easily trade into the round if the right player, like Hooker, is still available. I love it. Over 4.5 quarterbacks selected in the first round, -115. All right, Ian, bring it home for us. What are we looking at next?
Finally, next up, I mentioned Bijan Robinson. He has to do with my final NFL draft prop here. I like over 13.5 for his draft position. Right off the top, I'll let you know I am a little nervous about the Falcons taking the bait. But I think if they do take him, I actually think they trade down. So this is going to be all right. Bijan Robinson over 13.5 draft position at -110. No running back has been selected earlier than 24 in the draft since 2019. That was Saquon Barkley going to the Giants. And that hasn't exactly worked out for them. So I think teams are starting to smarten up and realize in today's day and age, the way that the game goes, there is no need to waste a top-tier pick on a running back. You can find diamonds in the rough, like the Falcons actually did last year in the 5th round, getting Tyler Algier, who rushed for 1,000 yards for them this year. And I don't think running back is a glaring need for any of the top teams in the draft. Really, the only team in the top 13 I could see taking them, maybe the Eagles, maybe the Falcons, but like I said, I think if the Falcons do want to do that, they can trade down and do it. Which brings me to my final point. Because there's not many teams at the top of the draft board who are looking for a running back, if any of them are, just trade down. And actually, the most common place where I'm seeing Bijan Robinson go at the majority of mock drafts is to number 16 to the Washington Commanders. Well, 16 is higher than 13, so if that happens, we will cash this bet. Give me Bijan Robinson from Texas over 13.5 draft position on Thursday night.
John. Okay, so obviously a ton of intrigue. The intrigue starts at the number 2 selection of the Houston Texans. Are they going to look to take a quarterback? Who's that quarterback going to be? Maybe they don't like any of these guys. Maybe they want to go with the best defensive player in the draft. So we put out a poll on the Vegas Insider Twitter feed asking you guys who you think will go number 2 overall. It's actually the opposite of what the odds are, because Will Levis is the favorite to go number 2 overall right now. Now, an hour from now, that could completely flip. Got Will Anderson after that, CJ Stroud. I don't know, man. I'm going to go with the odds here. Who knows? Texans, not the smartest franchise in sports. I guess I'll be kind and put it that way. What do you think they're going to do, Ian?
I think the Texans are going to trade out of that pick, is what I think they're going to do. I think whoever does trade up to number 2, I think they will take Will Levis. I'm hearing whispers the Patriots might. Ooh, so we'll see. It'll be interesting.
Oh, no!
You know what the dumbest thing in NFL draft history was? Do you remember when they used to do the draft on Saturday afternoons? And they did this for, I think maybe 2 or 3 years. But before the commissioner would come on and announce the pick, they would throw to Adam Schefter, and he would tell you who the team is going to pick. Do you remember that?
Yes.
I think the NBA did it. That was one of the most ridiculous things in broadcasting history, that they would do that. Did they think people enjoyed that? They got a ton of people killed them for doing that. That's why they stopped doing it. But what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, it's still going to get spoiled for you. If you go on Twitter during draft night, you're going to find out before the pick is made who's going to be drafted for the most part.
Yeah.
But yeah, they used to do it on the broadcast. Probably not a good idea to do it on the broadcast.
Do you remember, I don't know if it was the NFL, NBA, I think they both had a history of doing this, but they would tell you the most possible depressing things about the player immediately after. Oh, and this guy's brother was shot there last week in a drive-by incident. Or this guy, he was really close to his grandfather, and his grandfather just passed away. Do you remember that? It was way over the top. Was nobody in that room and said, okay, we're being a bit dark here. Maybe let's just pick 2 or 3 of these situations not to go in on, as opposed to saying, okay, what is the saddest possible thing we can say about each of these players? That's ridiculous.
I think the year they laid it on the thickest too was the COVID year in 2020. So we're already don't have sports to watch. NFL draft was the biggest sporting event over the previous 2 months since lockdown happened. And then they had to depress us even further by telling us literally it was literally every single pick. They were like, what's the most depressing thing we can say about this guy's family? I think they dialed back a little bit on that last year, I think. So that's good.
Coming off a great performance in the Rose Bowl. Unfortunately, his brother died shortly thereafter. It's ridiculous. Okay, some more topics to kick around here momentarily, but first let me tell you a little bit about the Vegas Insider app. It gives you all the major sports betting odds at your fingertips, all the news as well, along with some expert breakdowns. If you want more Vegas Insider content like our shows, videos, and podcasts, you can find it all on the app in the media section. Download the Vegas Insider app on Apple or Android. Bet better with the Vegas Insider app. Okay, report from Tito. There's reporting that Peter King reports suggesting that Stroud could fall out of the top 7. Very bad on the Wonderlic test. Vince Young levels. Apparently. Okay, some things out of the weekend I want to discuss here. So Dylan Brooks was a big story in the NBA on Saturday, aside from a bunch more injuries. Joel Embiid injured now. So he'll have some time off. So Dylan Brooks, yeah. So I think we can all agree that Dylan Brooks is the biggest loser in all of sports right now. I don't think I'm going to get a lot of pushback on that. You know, the Grizzlies, they win game 2. In that game, he hit a 3 kind of in LeBron's face or in LeBron's vicinity. He ends up staring him down. Then in the post-game media, he trashes LeBron, says that LeBron's old. And then what happened in game 3? Well, he shows up to Los Angeles. He sucked. He was horrible in that game. The Grizzlies were never in that game. It was a wire-to-wire smackdown. Brooks ends up getting ejected from the game. He punches LeBron in the balls. Now, I know there's not a whole lot of LeBron fans out there, but I think 100% of the people were on the side of LeBron. Then Brooks actually doubles down. He refuses to talk to the media after the game. Then the next day, yesterday, he comes out and he does speak to the media, and he blames the media and the fans for making him into a villain. So here's what I'm going to say. If you want to be a troll, there's been a lot of trolls in sports before, guys that talk a lot of shit and don't live up to it. But if you want to be a troll, you must go all in. You must commit. And that's what Brooks is doing. So I will commend him for that. He would have been a little bitch if he came out after game 3 and says, you know what, I take back what I said about LeBron. I apologize for that. Still a long way to go in this series. So he is fully committing. I'll give him credit for that, for not walking it back. We'll see what happens at the conclusion of the series. Reports coming out this morning. The timing of those reports is kind of interesting. I saw a real GM just tweeted out that the Grizzlies will be looking to upgrade Dillon Brooks's position here in the offseason. So, yeah, Brooks, the biggest loser in sports. But, hey, he's not giving up on the gimmick that he is portraying. So, another thing that I want to discuss, you guys know I'm not Mr. Boxing by any means, but of course, big boxing match, Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis, probably the biggest boxing match of the year so far. And this is one of these things. Do people on the internet, all of a sudden everyone's a big boxing expert, right? Do we have to make fun of, belittle, and complain about every single thing we see? So the conclusion of that fight, 7-round body shot. Garcia, a bit of a delayed reaction. He takes a knee. He's not able to continue. So the great people of the internet who know nothing about boxing, everyone wants to complain and make fun of Garcia and calling him soft. It's a 24-year-old kid. First loss of his career. Another thing that drove me nuts afterwards, we see this thing in the locker room afterwards. Conor McGregor, another lightning rod personality. He goes in there and he gives Garcia a bit of a pep talk. And you look at the comments on the Instagram post or YouTube, wherever it's posted, on Twitter. And I thought that was a nice thing. The 24-year-old kid coming off an ugly loss, to be fair. McGregor goes in and gives him a bit of a pep talk. People are going on about trashing McGregor. This is pathetic. How embarrassing. McGregor, look at him all high on coke, drunk out of his mind. That's your takeaway from seeing that? That was a very positive thing, an uplifting thing, I thought. And people just got to be so goddamn negative. Ian, yet another example of me spending time on social media saying to myself, I need to spend less time on the internet. Another thing, it was from last week, the blue checkmark thing on Twitter. Everyone making a big deal out of that. I got mine removed. Unfortunately, I don't know if I'm going to subscribe to a Twitter Blue. We'll see. I can afford the $15 a month. But anyhow, LeBron tweets it out 2 weeks ago. Hey, if you know about me, I'm not paying the monthly fee or whatever for the blue checkmark. Then blue checkmark removal day comes out. And hey, LeBron still has his. So what do people do? They fucking attack LeBron. Full articles dedicated to calling LeBron a loser, calling him a liar. Then Elon comes out about 2 hours later and says, no, we're paying for LeBron's and a handful of other celebrities. Anyone walking back their opinion? They were making fun of LeBron for supposedly paying for the blue checkmark. People are so goddamn petty. Ian, did you catch a boxing match over the weekend? And did you see the clip of McGregor in the locker room afterwards?
I did not. No. I watched the Leafs' overtime victory, which was glorious and cathartic in some sense, and then I went to bed. So I didn't watch any of the boxing. Didn't see the McGregor clip. I unfortunately can't. I can't weigh in on this. I agree, though. People on social media got to relax.
Yeah, I thought it was a nice, uplifting thing, and people are like, McGregor's high on coke. Are you out of your mind? He's charged up. It's a fight. You ever watch a big fight, a UFC fight? And I know there's some evidence there that he likes to party. Absolutely. People are so good. I thought it was an uplifting thing. McGregor, a guy that Garcia probably looks up to a little bit. He had mentioned him in the lead up about how he was inspired by McGregor's win over Jose Aldo. And I don't know, man. People just drive me nuts. But there's one other thing I want to address here, Ian. Something that you will be able to weigh in on. So I was, of course, I go on Twitter yesterday, and I saw a post from you. We can bring this post up, Producer Tito. So we say, I woke up at 7 a.m. and ran a race in the rain. Now, okay, good for you. You got out and got some exercise. But what I can't help to notice, I don't know if we're able to zoom in on the lower half of Ian's body. Look at those fucking tree trunks on Ian. Those are the size of my thighs, Ian. So I got to ask, you know, I played golf with you before. I've seen you in shorts. And I've always... I've called your calves thunderous is the way I describe them. But it looks like these fucking things have doubled in size since the last time I seen you in shorts. You know, I'm someone who would describe myself as a hard gainer in the calf department. Maybe some viewers can relate to that statement. But what's going on here? You just go do calf raises in the gym? An hour straight of calf raises? Or is there something else? Was there a surgery perhaps that has taken place? Are those implants?
No, absolutely not. I'm the last guy who needs calf implants. No, I think maybe it's just all the running that I'm doing, and I think really what it is, it's just like it's like the pump. It's like after you go to the gym and do bicep curls, your biceps look bigger because they're just working out. So I think after running a race, I think just my calves had a little pump to them. I mean, that was a great picture. My legs look like tree trunks. Some say that they look like the legs of a running back. Some would say.
Do you have a hard time finding pants that properly fit?
Oh yeah, they're always like when I take my pants off, they always like get caught around my calves.
Oh wait! When you take your pants off, oh my God, Ian, this is a family show, Ian. Now, does that create delays in the bedrooms? In the bedroom? Sometimes when you're disrobing.
Yeah, sometimes.
Good for Ian. Good for Ian. Something to aspire to be for me. As I said, a hard gainer in the calf department. But Ian showing us how it's done. Okay, guys, it is now time for today's Handicapper Heat Check, presented by VegasInsider.com. Your home for the best expert picks in the business since 1997. VI expert Bill Marzano dominated books on Sunday with a perfect 8-0. All sports record. Micah Roberts had an impressive 10-2 NBA record yesterday, and Merck Franco is on a 7-0 all sports run over the last 2 days. Visit VegasInsider.com/picks for tonight's best bets. That's your Handicapper Heat Check. Stay hot, bettors! Woo! What a show! What a show! What a show! What a show! Yeah, wrapping right up. Ian, anything to promote that chasing that pay-per-view should check out?
Yeah, nothing right now, but I got a lot of stuff coming up this week that people can check out. First of all, subscribe to the Bacon Bets podcast. I'm going to do a full first round mock draft on that. I'm going to do my official mock draft for the entire first round. That should be out tomorrow morning, I believe. I'm also interviewing some guys that are first round draft picks. Interviewing them on Wednesday, so keep an eye out for those. Brian Branch, Christian Gonzalez, who I talked about on the show, and trashed. Jordan Addison. Yeah, maybe I hope Christian Gonzalez did not see my pick of taking him over 8.5 overall. And then Jordan Addison, the USC receiver. So yeah, I got those interviews, and then draft day night, I'll be doing a live stream for Fansided throughout the first round of the draft. So I'll be live on air for like 3 to 4 hours. There'll be guests on. Joe, you're welcome to come on, but I know that you already don't like people talking during the draft, so I'm not going to expect you to come join the show, but you're welcome to. I'm going to have guests on, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
I don't know if I'd have a lot to add with the Dolphins not having a pick.
If the Dolphins were picking, no Dolphins pick
was drafted. That was the Dolphins first rounds pretty up and down over the years. They haven't had one last year, and they won't have one this year unless they trade back in. So yeah, just take it easy. So I don't know if I'd have too much to add, but not much else to add for today's show either. That about does it. Ian will be back with us on Wednesday. He'll be back with us on Friday this week, where we will do a recap of what we see in the first round of the draft. So that just about does it. We thank Ian for joining us today. We thank producer Tito for producing. Hell of a job today, Tito. Really earning that money. We thank you, dear viewer, for checking us out. Best of luck with your bets tonight, unless, of course, you are fading us. And as always, keep chasing that paper. Yeah, baby!